IMSA's highly anticipated Exxon World Sports Car Series debuted at the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona, turning a page in the annals of sports car racing history. Fermín Vélez will be remembered as the man who earned the first World Sports Car pole. But Vélez pulled off course in the first half hour with a cockpit fire, followed by a trip behind the wall to inspect an oil leak. Just after sundown, Jeremy Dale took the lead in the Bricks Racing Oldsmobile, an advantage that would last late into the night. Just after 2 a.m., the lead changed hands when Ruggero Melgrati pitted for a new windshield and exhaust repairs. The number 63 Mazda Kudzu, shared by Wayne Taylor, Jim Downing, and Charles Morgan, moved up front and held the lead until just after sunrise. But the Mazda then lost the lead and a full hour of time in the pits, sorting out gearbox problems. Although Downing's Mazda team cut the deficit to less than a lap during the final hour, the victory went to the Bricks Racing team. Jeremy Dale, Bob Shader, Ruggero Melgrati, and Bryce Cobb made history, earning the first ever Exxon World Sports Car victory. The number 2 Motorola-sponsored Oldsmobile Spice secured pole position at the classic 12 Hours of Sebring, and Jeremy Dale took control of the first 2 hours. In the third hour, Derek Bell drove the Auto Toy Store Chevrolet Spice past Bob Shader to take the lead. Shader took the spot back, but the Bricks team's hopes of a second endurance win ended an hour later when Melgrati slowed on course with engine problems. The all-British driving trio of Le Mans 24 Hours winners Bell and Andy Wallace, along with James Weaver, survived fading brakes, severe heat, and clutch problems to lead the last 8 hours, earning the coveted Sebring victory. Jim Downing and Wayne Taylor arrived at Road Atlanta with the Exxon World Sports Car Championship points lead by virtue of consistently high finishes. But Atlanta was the showcase for the anxiously awaited new Ferrari 333 SP, the Italian carmaker's first purpose-built sports car in 22 years. Ferrari's test driver for the project, Italian Mauro Baldi, put the number 5 Ferrari on pole, while Jeremy Dale set the second quickest time. But the Canadian lost his starting position when his team elected to change tires for the race. Baldi claimed the early lead with Jay Cochran on the pace in the number 50 Ferrari, and that pair pulled away from the field. Just before the first half hour had elapsed, Cochran passed for the lead, but handed it right back to Baldi when he was called to the pits for service. Baldi led when a vibration forced him to pit. That led to an early retirement for the number 5, leaving Cochran unchallenged in the lead. The all-new Ferrari 333 SP earned its maiden victory as Jay Cochran sailed under the checkered flag. Ferrari captured pole again at Lime Rock Park, but this time Eliseo Salazar started from the top spot. James Weaver moved up from third to steal the lead at the very first corner, but was soon after challenged by Salazar. The Chilean former Formula One driver came down on the inside, but his attempt to pass the Dyson Ferrari was thwarted. Then Mauro Baldi set up a pass, forging ahead of the Englishman. But the Italian soon dropped from contention with throttle problems. Weaver's bid for victory then evaporated when team owner Rob Dyson suffered terminal brake fade during his driving stint. The Momo Ferrari took over the lead, and Salazar stopped to hand over driving chores to Gianpiero Moretti. That allowed Jay Cochran to take the lead in a Ferrari, and then Bryce Cobb took a turn at the front in an Oldsmobile Spice. Moretti, whose personal influence helped bring Ferrari back to sports car racing, eventually caught and passed Cobb and took the checkered flag. In victory lane, Moretti and Salazar celebrated the Italian's first victory in 14 years. Salazar captured his second and Ferrari's third straight pole at Watkins Glen. The question in the paddock was, could the Ferrari go the 500-kilometer distance? The Momo Ferrari team barely made the grid, changing an engine on race morning. Yet Salazar forged into the early lead, followed by Jeremy Dale and James Weaver. Hugh Fuller encountered oil on the track, pirouetting into the tire barrier and bringing out a yellow flag. Salazar chose to pit on the restart, allowing Weaver to take the lead. But Weaver's advantage was short-lived. The Ferrari-powered Dyson soon needed new tires, and that allowed Dale to pass. When Dale made his stop, the Momo Ferrari pounced, Salazar passing just as the Oldsmobile rejoined the race. Bob Shader gained the advantage when the Momo Ferrari stopped for maintenance, then handed the lead back when his Oldsmobile ran low on fuel. Salazar narrowly avoided disaster when a slower car got loose in a corner as the Ferrari passed on the outside. Dale began closing in on the leader in the final stages of the race when he was forced to dive to the pits with a problem. His day was over. A broken upright had dashed his team's hopes of victory. Gianpiero Moretti took the checkered flag along with Eliseo Salazar, giving the Momo team back-to-back victories, while series points leaders Wayne Taylor and Jim Downing finished fourth. Salazar earned his third consecutive pole of the season at Indianapolis Raceway Park, but Jeremy Dale overtook the Ferrari on the first lap of the 2-hour race. Less than 10 minutes later, Salazar repassed the Oldsmobile and never looked back as Dale was forced to pit with a stuck throttle. Fermín Velez, teamed with Andy Evans in a Ferrari, charged after the leading Momo machine and closed the gap to 8 seconds. But Velez simply ran out of time as Salazar and Moretti earned their third straight victory of the season. By Laguna Seca, Wayne Taylor and Jim Downing had amassed a 21-point lead over Jeremy Dale with no victories but plenty of consistently high finishes. Andy Wallace returned for the first time since his Sebring victory and upset Eliseo Salazar's chance for a fourth straight pole. Wallace looked like a race winner until his car was pushed behind the wall at the halfway mark. The number 33 machine's mechanical problems gave the lead to Salazar, who would still have to contend with Fermín Velez. The Spaniard took the lead during the Momo Ferrari's pit stop. The lead changed hands for the fourth time when Velez stopped for service, putting Salazar back out front. Suddenly, Taylor went off course into the gravel trap, bringing out a yellow flag that placed Velez right behind Salazar for the restart. Velez then shouldered past the Chilean with 5 minutes remaining to share his first ever World Sports Car victory with team owner and co-driver Andy Evans. Salazar finished second, while Jeremy Dale's third place finish tightened the championship points race. Dale left Laguna Seca just 16 behind the combination of Taylor and Downing. At Portland, Andy Wallace took his second straight pole, with Jeremy Dale starting outside on row 1. The Momo team's decision to change tires on their Ferrari for the race compromised their position on the grid. Gianpiero Moretti started his car from last place. There was action at the start, entering turn 1, when Jeremy Dale missed the chicane and Wayne Taylor was bumped sideways. The incident knocked the wing from the number 63 Mazda and damaged the rear bodywork, sending points leader Taylor to the pits for repairs. Andy Evans pushed his Ferrari into the lead during Wallace's pit stop to hand over his Oldsmobile to Hugh Fuller. Then Evans stopped for service, and when Fermín Velez took over the wheel, he was assessed a stop-and-go penalty for exiting the pits at a speed judged not reasonable for the conditions. Hugh Fuller's number 33 Oldsmobile was back in the lead after a rash of pit stops. Then Jeremy Dale overtook Fuller as Wayne Taylor slowed on course with a problem. Moments later, the battle between Fuller and Velez for second produced the highlight of the season.
Keep it close. He'll go down the inside. Oops. And up onto the curb and into the air. Good. Great. And Fuller's car comes to a stop on its side. Velez has tremendous front-end damage to his car.
I've never seen anything like that, but that wing, actually the wing is what held the car up and stopped it flopping over then. And Fuller jumps out.
Fuller tumbles out. Now he's going to try to turn the car over. Ah!
Eventually, both cars made it to the pits, where the Ferrari was retired on the spots, while miraculously, Fuller was able to continue as dark clouds gathered overhead. Minutes later, the skies opened over Portland, and heavy rains brought the race to a stop. Jeremy Dale took the victory, finally breaking the Ferrari stranglehold that had commenced at Road Atlanta. Jim Downing finished third, while Wayne Taylor dropped to 8th. The unusual results from Portland mixed up the championship fight as Downing eclipsed his teammate, gaining a 5-point advantage on the points table. And Jeremy Dale's victory reduced his deficit to just 12 behind Downing. In the season finale under the Arizona Stars, Jeremy Dale did everything possible to clinch the championship, taking his second pole in a row and surviving a wild race for his third victory of the season. Taylor joined the event after the first round of pit stops, taking over the Mazda-powered kudzu from Jim Pace, while Jim Downing climbed aboard the Buick-powered sister car following guest driver Stanley Dickens.
When Downing handed back to Charles Morgan without fulfilling the minimum drive required for points, Wayne Taylor's third-place finish behind Jeremy Dale and the Giampiero Moretti Eliseo Salazar Ferrari clinched his long-sought Exxon World Sports Car Championship.
Wayne Taylor's association with IMSA dates back to the late 1980s, where his talent was quickly recognized as he took 4 poles during his first full season in 1991. A self-proclaimed fan of North American sports car racing, Taylor made no secret of his championship quest. IMSA's first Exxon World Sports Car title was a trip to the unknown, a new formula that underwent constant evolution. But one thing did not change: the spirit, ambition, and talent so vital to any championship dream. Wayne Taylor is a tenacious competitor, never flagging in the pressure of competition. He had a plan to which he adhered. We salute Wayne Taylor, Exxon's first IMSA World Sports Car Champion. '92 Series driving champion Steve Millen earned the first pole of the 1994 Exxon Supreme GTS season for Nissan. For Millen, the pole was significant, marking his complete comeback from a 6-month layoff, the result of a horrific 1993 crash that left Millen with career-threatening injuries. But it wasn't Millen that fell victim to the rigors of Daytona. Rather, the number 75 Nissan he started that suffered a broken crankshaft at just before 1 a.m. That put the number 76 Nissan out front, with the 59 Brumos Porsche seriously in the hunt. But the Porsche was plagued with recurring turbo problems that led to an 8 a.m. retirement. Despite a race-threatening encounter that cut a tire and bent a wheel, the number 76 Nissan 300ZX Turbo set a brutal pace. Millen stepped in when the weather turned foul, and together with Scott Pruitt, Paul Gentilozzi, and Butch Leitzinger, ran a near-perfect race. Gentilozzi drove the final stint, giving himself the ultimate 44th birthday present. Better yet, the Clayton Cunningham Racing Nissan took the overall victory, setting a new GTS distance record with an impressive 24-lap margin of victory. Then came Sebring. Millen proved his Daytona pole was no fluke, capturing fast time at the historic yet formidable airport circuit. Early pressure from the number 6 Brix Oldsmobile ended before the halfway mark when Darren Brassfield stopped for a new gearbox, losing 32 minutes. The number 76 Nissan of Gentilozzi and Butch Leitzinger called it quits officially at 5:40 p.m. due to chronic overheating. That gave way to the number 75Z shared by Millen, Johnny O'Connell, and John Morton. With a 5-lap advantage, Millen dove into the pits for a splash and go. Minutes later, Millen took the checkered flag. The victory marked the 30th anniversary of Morton's inaugural Sebring Voyage and the first overall win for the driving trio. But the points were another matter. Oldsmobile's Irv Hare held the Drivers' Championship lead by virtue of consistency. At Road Atlanta, Millen's chance at 3 poles in a row was interrupted by a serious practice crash that put his Cunningham Racing team to the test. The car was repaired in time for qualifying, but Brassfield set a new track record, earning the pole. A 4-car battle developed at the race start, and O'Connell took the lead with an outside pass. Gradually, Brassfield dropped from contention, losing oil pressure. Steve Millen passed his Nissan teammate Johnny O'Connell with less than 5 minutes remaining. The victory put Millen into IMSA's history books as the winningest driver in IMSA GTS history. Millen entered Lime Rock with the Exxon GTS Drivers' Championship lead, but a turbocharger problem early in qualifying hindered his efforts for pole. O'Connell set fast time, but was relegated to the back of the grid, the result of a turbo boost irregularity. This elevated Irv Hare to the pole, producing a pure Oldsmobile front row, with Darren Brassfield taking the lead from the green flag. O'Connell and Millen sliced through traffic, moving up to 3rd and 4th. But O'Connell cut a tire, leaving Millen to pursue the Oldsmobiles. Millen caught Brassfield, then passed him for 2nd in the S's, but lost position when he went off course, avoiding slower traffic. Millen made another attempt to pass Brassfield on the last lap with an outside pass in the uphill turn. But the two touched. Millen spun to the inside while the Oldsmobile bounced across the chicane. Meanwhile, Hare, who had passed Brassfield in the early going, extended his lead, then sailed to victory, giving Oldsmobile its first win of the season. Brassfield held on to second, followed by Millen in third. The victory put Hare back on top of the championship point standings. Hare went on to secure pole for the third longest race of the season at Watkins Glen. Teammate Darren Brassfield handled the early lead, but his Oldsmobile was plagued by broken wheel nuts. As Brassfield fell back, teammate Hare took control of the 500-kilometer event. Hare sailed to victory, while Steve Millen and Johnny O'Connell co-drove to second place, with Brassfield third. By Indianapolis, the Nissan Oldsmobile battle had heated up when Darren Brassfield collected his second pole of the season, giving Oldsmobile 4 in a row. Steve Millen, who started alongside Brassfield on the front row, took the lead on lap 1, then led a 4-car train. But suddenly Millen went off at turn 15, hard on the brakes, avoiding traffic, handing the lead to Hare. That left O'Connell to pursue the leading Oldsmobile until Brassfield dove down on the inside of the Nissan, knocking O'Connell off course, spinning into the grass. Irv Hare took the checkered flag, collecting his third consecutive victory of the season and extending his championship points lead over Millen. Nissan came to Laguna Seca with reinforcements when Belgium's former Formula One star Eric Van de Poel was added to the driver lineup. 3 Nissans captured the top 3 starting spots with O'Connell on pole. Steve Millen took the early lead, but was passed by O'Connell, who extended his advantage to more than 13 seconds. Millen finished second, followed by Van de Poel in third. The sweep gave O'Connell the chance to celebrate his 32nd birthday on a pure Nissan Z podium. Steve Millen then made history at Portland, earning his 23rd career pole, setting a new IMSA GTS record. Millen took control of the early lead, while Eric Van de Poel passed Hare for second. But the Belgian went off course, passing slower traffic, forcing him to pit for new tires. Then Johnny O'Connell attempted a pass on Hare in the festival curves that sent both cars off course. O'Connell continued, but Hare's day was over, bringing out a yellow flag to tow the Oldsmobile to safety. That allowed Darren Brassfield to move up to second, seeking his third straight GTS victory at Portland. But Millen upset the Portland Maestro to take the victory and clinch the all-important Manufacturers' Championship for Nissan. The win also elevated Millen to the Exxon GTS points lead. Irv Hare's failure to finish drastically changed the point spread, setting the stage for a fierce 3-way battle to earn the coveted IMSA Exxon Supreme GTS Drivers' Championship.
At Phoenix, Nissan entered a 4th car for Butch Leitzinger, while O'Connell, Millen, and Van de Poel captured the top 3 starting positions, with points runner-up Irv Hare in 8th. At the start, Millen leapt past O'Connell at the first corner to take the lead. Meanwhile, Hare's attempt to pass Leitzinger went haywire, reflecting a frustrating afternoon for the Bricks Racing Oldsmobile team. The Nissans held on to the top 3 positions, O'Connell repassing Millen for the victory and second place in the title chase. Millen cruised under the checkered flag to clinch the Exxon GTS Drivers' Championship.
It was just 1 year ago that Steve Millen was sidelined, his future in professional motorsports uncertain. Our doubts, and perhaps his, faded when Millen returned with a vengeance, and by Sebring, there could be no question. The man from New Zealand had truly returned, enhancing an already stellar career. In 1994, Steve Millen became the all-time reigning Exxon GTS race winner, securing more poles than any driver in IMSA GTS history. In a fight for the title, where competition is most fierce, success is determined by degree of skill, consistency, and sense of purpose for both team and driver. We congratulate Cunningham Racing's Steve Millen, the 1994 Exxon GTS champion. Atlanta began Exxon's Supreme GTO show. How the season would go? Surely no one could know. Charles Morgan was back, defending GTO champion. But Joe Pezza earned pole, upstaging the Arkansan. From the very first moment, the green hanky flew. Could Pezza beat Morgan? Something nobody knew. Pezza and Morgan was how the race started. Joe jumped to the lead. An advantage he guarded. More than 12 seconds was the cushion he built. Joe increased it to 20 in a race at full tilt. With just minutes remaining, Morgan slowed on the course. A tire went down. He said that was the source. He gave way to De Vries, who moved up into second. But Pezza was poised when that checkered flag beckoned. This guy Pezza was tough, something we all could see. He left Road Atlanta with the GTO lead. At Lime Rock in May, Pezza once again struck 2 poles in a row. It just couldn't be luck. Pezza started his Mustang from spot number 1. When De Vries was knocked off, all his chances were gone. Soon Johnny would learn that this dude sure was tough. As Joe took the win, would 2 straight be enough? At Watkins Glen, Riggins qualified the Ford, meaning Pezza would start from the front row once more. Pezza started the race and soon led the whole field. He held on to that lead, a position to shield. Minutes later, the flag waved for a short full-course yellow. Scolo popped a tire big time, a most unhappy fellow. Later, Pezza was passed for the first time this season. It was De Vries and his olds. Surely that was the reason. But De Vries' advantage was short-lived indeed. Joe was soon in the lead with incredible speed. Briodi and Simeone caused the third pause that day. Then Pezza crashed at turn 6, early in the delay. De Vries took the lead when the field went full throttle, then drove on to the win and champagne from a bottle. At Indianapolis, with a firm grip on the points, Pezza's qualifying run did not disappoint. By now, the white Mustang was known as Old Casper, and the shiny white Ford was assuredly faster. It was time they all knew to stop Rapid Joe's streak. Not De Vries, who soon pitted with some sort of leak. It was still early on when Morgan cut a tire. Joe led every lap, winning wire to wire. At Laguna Seca, with the championship a 3-way dogfight, De Vries stood around frustrated, with no car in sight. Riggins earned pole, De Vries sidelined and pacing. But on Sunday his car showed, and he could go racing. With no time, De Vries started dead last in the field. Riggins led early, till a spin forced him to yield. That allowed Joe then to move out from the class. But Riggins caught up, and then pulled off the pass. De Vries sliced through traffic. He'd borrowed some gears, but Joe Pezza never saw 00 in his mirrors. Instead, he saw Riggins ahead and his chance to pass. Ah, thought Joe, I'm going to kick his... well, you know. And that's what he did. Pezza evened the score, increasing his wins to a total of 4. Joe then entered Portland with a good chance to clinch. But could he still do it? Would he get pole in a pinch? No, this time De Vries would start number 1, and Riggins was back. This was going to be fun. De Vries was soon leading, and Pezza was second. Then Brian went off, disappointed, we reckon. Then Riggins passed Pezza in the festival curve. With a title at stake, did Joe suffer from nerves? At the flag, it was Riggins, Pezza 1 second down. But that was enough for his championship crown. 4 wins and 3 poles. It was truly amazing. Congratulations from Exxon on a great year of racing. IMSA's Exxon Supreme GTU season opened at Daytona with Harold Gross on the pole in the 02 Porsche 911 RSR. Dick Greer's chance to earn his 4th consecutive Daytona victory ended when the Wendy's Mazda RX-7 retired at 4 a.m. The true battle emerged when the 02 and 65 Porsche 911 RSRs were shown on the lead lap mid-morning on Sunday. Suddenly, the 02 Porsche was forced to the pits with a cut tire, creating a one-lap deficit from which the team never recovered. The all-German team of Karl Vlasic, Ulrich Richter, and Günter Dobler scored the victory, making Daytona history with the highest-placed GTU finish ever, 3rd overall. Bill Auberlen joined the Team Peru Mazda at Sebring and set a new track record in qualifying. But Auberlen's team fell from contention when the car stopped on course, the result of a faulty reserve tank. The Leitzinger-prepared Nissan 240SX took control of the lead and held it for the first 10.5 hours. But lead driver Jim Pace was forced to pit with brake problems, handing the lead to Nick Ham. The number 49 Porsche 911 RSR, shared by Ham, Joe Vardy, and Mark Sandridge, scored the victory, and a tired yet ebullient Nick Ham borrowed the overall race-winning Nissan for his victory lane celebration. Bill Auberlen set another track record qualifying the Yokohama Mazda at Road Atlanta in April. The Californian was leading when his chance at victory went up in a cloud of dust as the Mazda went off course at turn 11. Auberlen's day officially ended when he struck the barrier at turn 7. Jim Pace dominated the remainder of the race, earning his first victory of the season. Peruvian Eduardo Dibos collected his first ever career pole in round 4 at Lime Rock Park. Dibos held the lead at the race start, but Pace cut across the nose of the Mazda, stealing the position with an outside pass. Then Dibos cut a tire, sending his car off course and into the pits. Bill Auberlen waited patiently as Pace's tires faded. Auberlen then passed for the lead, driving his Mazda RX-7 to victory. Pace finished second, and Dibos rallied back for third. Jim Pace earned his first pole of the season at Watkins Glen. Pace was pressuring Dibos for the lead when they both narrowly escaped disaster when Bobby Brown's motor blew directly in front of them. Then Pace suffered the same fate. The Nissan slowed on course with engine failure. Dibos' chance at victory took another turn when he went off into the dirt. But he recovered, and Watkins Glen produced the 5th different winner in as many events when Eduardo Dibos took the checkered flag. The Dibos roll continued at the inaugural race around Indianapolis Raceway Park, where the Peruvian took his 2nd consecutive pole. Dibos led from the start with Pace in hot pursuit. Then Mark Sandridge crashed hard into the tire barrier at turn 4, bringing out a full course caution that tightened up the GTU field. Following the restart, Dibos and Pace raced for the lead, a battle that ended when Dibos looped his Mazda right in front of Joe Cogbill. Pace drove on to victory, becoming the first repeat winner of the 1994 Exxon Supreme GTU season. Pace was back on top in qualifying when the series moved west to Laguna Seca, California. And this would be an action-packed thriller, as Pace fought to hold on to his lead. Dibos picked off Bill Auberlen for second, then made a move on Pace for the point. Then Auberlen struck, moving up to steal the lead from Dibos. But Pace retaliated, moving back out front, earning his 3rd victory aboard the number 95 Leitzinger Nissan 240SX. The victory moved Pace into the Exxon GTU Championship points lead with just 2 races remaining. With a good chance to clinch the championship at Portland, Pace earned his 2nd consecutive pole. But his chance of closing out the championship took a curious turn. A mechanical problem caused the Nissan to slow on course, the result of a throttle linkage failure. Amidst a major reshuffling of the GTU field, Pace's teammate Butch Hamlet took over the lead, with Dibos and Auberlen in hot pursuit. The 2 Mazdas attempted to pass the leading Nissan in the festival curves at the same time, causing a 3-car traffic jam. Hamlet ended up with the advantage, driving to an emotional maiden victory. Auberlen held on for 2nd, followed by Dibos in 3rd. The stage was set for a showdown at Phoenix, Arizona. Dibos trailed Pace by just 9 points for the championship.
In the season finale at Phoenix, Bill Auberlen earned the pole and led every lap for his 2nd victory of the year. Eduardo Dibos held on to 2nd, followed by Jim Pace's teammate Butch Hamlet in 3rd. Pace drove his number 95 Leitzinger Nissan 240SX to a 4th place finish, ending the season just 4 points ahead of Dibos to earn his first IMSA Exxon GTU championship.
Jim Pace has moved up through the ranks, earning Rookie of the Year honors in Skip Barber open-wheel cars in 1988 and 1989. Pace joined the ranks of IMSA competition in 1990, earning Most Improved Driver in 1991. In one of the most competitive Exxon GTU seasons ever, Pace's championship season began to take shape with a convincing victory at Road Atlanta. Throughout the season, he was determined and consistent, key ingredients to winning titles. On behalf of Exxon Company USA, we congratulate Jim Pace, the 1994 Exxon Supreme GTU champion. The 1994 Bridgestone Supercar Championship opened at Sebring International Raceway in March, where David Donahue earned the first pole of the season. Donahue and his BMW M5 wound up starting fourth when the first two rows of the starting grid were inverted under series rules following a pre-race drawing. That drawing put Australian Peter Farrell and his Mazda RX-7 Turbo up front. Farrell took full advantage, collecting his first career supercar victory with Donahue second and Sean Hendricks in his Nissan 300ZX Stillen third. The Sebring result foreshadowed the championship battle that would develop between Donahue, Hendricks, and Farrell. From the wide-open spaces of Sebring, round two took the Bridgestone supercars to the tight city streets of Long Beach, California. There, Donahue passed Hendricks for the lead when the two collided in the hairpin. As he drove his Ed Arnold Racing BMW under the checkered flag, Donahue took both the victory and the series points lead. Sean Hendricks rallied to win the next two races at Lime Rock Park and Watkins Glen, starting each from the pole. That pair of victories eclipsed Donahue in the points as Hendricks moved into the championship lead. As the series moved west to Laguna Seca, California, Hendricks earned his fourth consecutive pole of the season, but wound up starting eighth when the draw inverted the first four rows, elevating Shane Lewis's Corvette to the top position. Hendricks moved halfway through the field before going off course, losing valuable time and points. Donahue's second-place finish behind Lewis produced an absolute points tie for the championship between Donahue and Hendricks. At Portland, Lewis was quickest in qualifying, but was relegated to fourth in the starting lottery, while Doc Bundy and his Lotus inherited the pole. Sean Hendricks worked his way up through the field and caught Bundy for the lead. Moments later, Donahue also passed Bundy, and Hendricks and Donahue held on to collect the top two finishing positions. The victory gave Hendricks a slim 2-point advantage over Donahue with 2 races to go. The Donahue-Hendricks battle was full tilt at Phoenix, with Hendricks on pole and Donahue starting 5th. But Hendricks' championship quest was derailed when his Nissan slowed with electrical problems while in the lead. That runner-up finish gave Donahue a commanding points lead over Hendricks and Farrell with 1 race remaining. Donahue then went on to lead every lap of the finale at Sebring in October, giving the son of road racing legend Mark Donahue his first professional championship. Adding icing to Donahue's cake, BMW clinched the 1994 Bridgestone Supercar Manufacturer's title. The 10th running of IMSA's Street Stock Endurance Championship produced 3 first-time champions. In Grand Sports, Atlanta's David Murray won the season opener at Sebring, but Murray then fell back in the title chase as Pontiac drivers captured the next 3 races. Murray rallied back with the help of co-driver Lloyd Hawkins, and the pair won the last 5 races of the season. Murray's record-breaking 5 in a row culminated at the Sebring finale and resulted in a 30-point advantage for the Crescent City Motors Porsche 968 team and the Grand Sports Driving Championship title for Murray. Forrest Grandland and Peter Farrell produced the closest championship battle in Street Stock Endurance Sports Division history. Grandland drove his Honda Prelude VTEC to victory at the season ender at Sebring, edging Farrell's Mazda team by a single point. In the touring class, Dave Doherty won 4 races and never finished out at the top 4 on his way to his first title. Doherty and Chris Midori dominated the season, co-driving the TC Klein Racing Honda Prelude SI. IMSA's 1995 season gets underway with the 33rd running of the classic Rolex 24 at Daytona International Speedway.